She moved to kiss me at the exact second my lips parted to kiss her. She sensed my every move.
My crops thriving, my children fed, my depression cured, my homosexuality on fire. First of all, Dianna Agron committing sapphic activity right into my ears for hours on end is relevant to my interests. And I had to share it with you all because it's changed my life and it could change yours too. It's the Lesbian Book of Mormon. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I'm just going to be reviewing the sapphic science fiction audio drama Narcissa, starring Dianna Agron playing the role of a bisexual mind reader. Yes, you heard that correctly. I'm into it. I was so happy to discover the world of sapphic audio dramas because it's not a format I'm familiar with. I'm used to either reading or watching my sapphic content, so I was curious to see how I would like listening to it instead. And I have to say, it turns out I like to listen. Apparently to everything except good advice, which is why I put myself out on the internet for all 3 people to watch. Choices. Oh, and this video will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. Narcissa is written by Alex O. Eaton, and it follows the character of Sid, a mind reader who is trying to get clean from reading and live a normal life. But things quickly start to unravel when a string of gruesome murders happen and the police suspect a mind reader is responsible. Sid's true identity risks exposure when she becomes entangled in a romantic affair with a mysterious woman named Andy. But after spending her whole life living in the shadows to protect her true identity, Sid is willing to do everything in her power to love and be loved. Okay, gay? Basically, she risks it all for another woman. A lesbian tale as old as time. Yeah. I'll just tell you right away that I loved this series, and not just for lesbian science, although mainly for lesbian science, but I think what I loved about it so much is we rarely get this kind of sapphic content. I can't think of many sci-fi sapphic thrillers outside of maybe a couple of novels that I've read, and audio dramas are immersive in a different way, so this was just very enjoyable and fresh to me. And B, this is a very layered and thoughtful feminist production, which treats the sapphic elements with respect. Oh, we get the whole cake, not just crumbs. Not just crumbs. I mean, I won't lie, having Diana's voice in my ears for hours on end was the main draw of this production, and a transcendent experience. I feel like a changed woman, but in terms of being absorbed in the fictional elements, I don't think her voice distracts from the character that she's playing, and I was still able to get lost in the narrative as well as appreciate the goodness of House Agron in my ears simultaneously. I also thought Dianna was really well cast for the role of Sid. She embodies her introspection and slightly dry and cynical nature perfectly. Sid is a really complex character who is burdened by having to hide and manage her mind-reading abilities in a society which holds a lot of contempt for mind readers. And she has to navigate the impact of this on the relationship she has with friends and family. And when we're introduced to her, you can really feel her sense of isolation and her longing for connection. And when she meets Andy, you really feel the full intensity of that longing. In fact, Andy and Sid have one of the most intensely sapphic relationships that I have ever come across. And not only is it really intense, there's all these other layers which make their connection a fascinating one. For example, Sid is used to having the upper hand in a lot of her relationships because of course she can read minds, but she can't read Andy's mind because Andy isn't human. She's a sentient piece of artificial intelligence. And there's this line where Sid is talking about Andy and she says, "I've never wanted inside someone more." Alex O'Eaton knew what she was doing with this script. She did. And of course, Andy being used as a weapon for murder by a serial killer, murders which the police think a mind reader is responsible for, adds an element of danger and mystery to their relationship as well. So there's this layer of complexity to their relationship, and it's just intoxicating to listen to the way that they interact with one another. There's so much tension and electricity between the two of them because they're so fascinated and mystified by one another. And you can particularly feel this on their first date. My headphones started levitating with the amount of sapphic tension between the two of them. And their first date is so well written and so well acted. You can actually visualize what's happening between the two of them perfectly. And I have to say, I just loved how descriptive their first kiss was. I might have had butterflies listening to that scene. I did. In fact, I just love the way all their interactions are written. It's such high romance. You know, the way that Sid talks about Andy and describes the way that Andy makes her feel is just poetic. I was not expecting the love scenes between them to be quite so explicit, but they were. It's poetic cinema in audio form. The love scenes in Narcissa restored purpose in my life. You know, they gave me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Also, the fact that they exchange I love yous after their second time properly hanging out together, I think that's god tier sapphicry. I don't think there is anything more sapphic than that. And despite, you know, the very obvious obstacles to their relationship and the dangers to their relationship, it's just romantic and soft and sappy. And I think what I appreciate about this audio drama and what I wasn't expecting is how much it honors the main sapphic relationship. It doesn't queerbait, it doesn't chuck the audience some crumbs. It really commits to telling this love story, and that shouldn't be refreshing in 2023, and yet it is. In a lot of ways, Andy is very much Sid's first proper love. And this is pointed out by Sid's ex-boyfriend, Ken, who says that she's never really been in love with anybody before, and this changes when she meets Andy. There's also a lot of parallels between Andy and Sid in the way that they're both othered in society and living outside of the law, with Sid being a mind reader and with Andy being an illegal humanoid. And we see how both of them are similar in the way that they operate. Both of them are always thinking of others, and they're also both used by others for selfish means. You know, this is a series with a lot of purposeful commentary and layers to it, and the relationship between Andy and Sid is no exception to this. In fact, there's even connotations about their relationship in the title, Narcissa, which has relations to Greek mythology, to narcissism, to an admiration and a deep love of the self. And there's even a line from Ken where he says to Sid, people want to date people who are like themselves, which further reinforces the mirror element between Andy and Sid. The themes in Narcissa are really interesting. You have an exploration of artificial intelligence and self-consciousness within that, and the capitalization and exploitation of it in relation to human desire. But more than anything, there's a lot of feminist commentary, which is fairly overt. Andy is an escort, and the tagline for her brand is "No is not a part of Narcissa," and Narcissa never says no. And if you think about the connotations this has to real women and the removal of consent, or the removal of the need for consent, it's really disturbing. Andy also vocalizes that her pleasure is never a concern. She's never thinking of herself, she's always thinking of everyone else around her. And this has very clear connotations to real life female sexuality and sexual experience, where women's pleasure is always a secondary concern, if one at all. more a heteronormative thing than a lesbian thing, just putting it out there. Andy also mentions absorbing information from old movies where women cook, clean, and wait for a man's instruction. And this relates to Andy's own situation because she's very much under the control of a man and does very much await his instruction. Really, a lot of Narcissa is about Andy discovering what she wants and who she is outside of this male control, which I'm sure a lot of women can relate to. And she does this by meeting and falling for another woman who makes her question everything and test the limits of her self-consciousness. Women, break free from your chains and become a lesbian today. In terms of the narrative, you obviously have to take something like this with a pinch of salt. It's science fiction, but for the most part, it's very easy to become absorbed in this world, and Alex O. Eaton takes care to explain, or at least attempts to try and explain, things like how Andy and Jeffrey are getting away with so many murders when technology is so advanced. And I think for the most part, she's created a really interesting and beautiful piece of work. I think my only criticisms for Narcissa is perhaps the ending, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a second season. Because if there's going to be a second season, the ending to season 1 makes a lot more sense than if that was just it. There was a lot crammed into the finale. The revelation that Sid was adopted, she meets her real father, she's a fugitive, she's on the run. We're not really sure what's happened to Andy. She leaves Sid a voicemail declaring her love, but says her memory's going to be reset. So, I prefer a satisfactory ending. That's all. But honestly, overall, I love this audio drama. I have re-listened to it like 5,000 times. That is just for personal reasons. Lesbian, personal reasons. And I can definitely recommend this. I think if you haven't listened to it and you're a fan of Dianna Agron, yeah, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, guys, if you listen to Narcissa, let me know what you think of it down in the comments section below. Let's exchange opinions. Respectfully or not respectfully, which some of you like to fight. No, that's okay. Let it all out on me. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.